Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is going to be a rambling video because I felt like it was important for some reason to share some life experience. I have a gist of what I'll share, but what's at the end of the tunnel for why I'm sharing it'll come together, I'm certain. I feel that these are also part of the Ukrainian readings. I don't know if I should just do a playlist, but it's pretty much what I've been doing anyway. Um, so I have seen the grandmother figure for a while, but the grandfather figure um, came back. So it looked like he was going up the stairs for some reason, and also said, like, reaching the hand out as if it was assistance. And I was thinking, okay, well, I feel like both of them are pretty adamant on reaching out to me because I think about it, because I would like to be certain about the communications with different beings. So then, because the grandmother figure was also doing the same thing, but I wasn't quite sure, and it felt like now that I see both of the movements, it's like almost like anointing because it's almost like I was pushed into like water as to be cleansed because of the other mini traveling adventure that I had with my late companion Kiki, my late cat companion. And this time it brought me somewhere where I had absolutely no interest in going in, which was my childhood home, my main childhood home. And um, I would have to say that I've seen the lightest of light and the darkest of dark and a bunch of things in between. But I would say the nightmares ish that, because nothing really happens in the dreams per se, for the most part, um, happen in my childhood home. And it's mainly like the reoccurring dreams of like being at my bedroom and already feeling like as soon as the dream starts, feeling like I absolutely do not want to be there. And I just stare at the room because the room is pretty empty and nothing but a bed. And then the closet door, like it's behaviors that I feel like it carried on into later times for me where I still do the same things because I'm constantly checking the doors and um, weary about having a door that's open. Um, the lights are constantly on wherever I stay at. If a door is open, the lights on in that area too. So I go into the bedroom again, reluctantly, I keep saying that, but it's not a place where I want to be. And then the closet, I check specifically because I just need to see that nothing's there. And the closet is empty too. It has like the shelving stuff, but nothing's on the shelves. And so it doesn't really do much for me because I don't want to be there. And I feel like maybe it was part of like the healing process because I feel like for some reason maybe mentioning these can help heal in a way. And I don't share a lot of experiences. It might surprise people because sometimes I just like talk and talk and talk on these videos. But other than that, it's usually what's done is done. I don't really mention anything, maybe in brief passing if it ever came up in conversation, and then it wouldn't be part of the conversation anymore. I feel like that could be the lack of expression, and that could be a lesson that's important for this video too, where the energy is so confined, where the times where you were supposed to say something and then a lot of times you do say something, it gets invalidated. That has been a constant for the last couple of readings, that message. And then it comes to a point where what's the point of mentioning anything if it's just not going to go anywhere? Um, and there was a lot of twists and turns in, I would say, a good amount of the childhood that my childhood. Um, Interestingly, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I feel like a lot of it is blacked out. And I ask myself, is it because I blacked it out? Because a lot of times I get my age mixed up too, especially um, yeah, a couple of years ago. Like I would always get my age off, and I didn't know why. Um, but with the traveling adventures, we get to the house, and I was upset because I was like, why are we here? And I remember we go down to the basement, and um, the basement is an interesting place for me because I would also stay there too. I just backtrack a little bit because it's going to be me going in different directions in this video, but the closet is a specific area too because of the haunting and also because after I was going to go out the window because I was interacting with the spirit because I was kind of the only person interacting with the spirit in this house. My room is in the end of the hallway, and my parents and my brother's room were close together. And so it was, if you go out this window, I'll teach you how to fly. And I already was sick, and I had a heart monitor at the time, and I was kind of under surveillance with that too, because I would have to write down the stuff that I did throughout the day. So it wasn't that great. Um, and then I did die and then come back to life with that before. So, sorry, I'm just trying to maybe catch this up in case like there were any details that weren't in other videos, or maybe they were in other videos, but then they were so long that maybe it was missed information. Not like it needs to be all in this video. But it was around that time where my door was taken away, and the lack of privacy. And I also liked cold weather then too. I would start sleeping in the closet, and I wasn't like alone in that way. Um, with the experiences and the hauntings. So the basement was also an area where I would stay too, uh, because it was cold. I liked, and I still like being cold, and it helps for me to breathe easier. Um, and then just some weird mannerisms where I would just sit in the dark in the basement. And that's where sometimes it would be kind of daytime because there would be this crevice of like a window and the light was shining in. And near that light was my orb of light. And I took it. I didn't really know why until to start from then the grandfather spirit came along, and um, I feel like it was I sometimes see them both like together at a dinner table, and I kind of observe and I'm like, are they upset or want to scold me? And they say it's not like that in that way. I feel like they want to kind of make an impression to have me be a little more present and try to reassure me and say that, safe space. So at some point around that time, there was a lot of things said and a lot of things done. Um, some arguments with my parents, um, and that eventually landed me in a rehabilitation center because you can't talk about your feelings, and even though they want you to talk about your feelings, and this is just my perspective, of course, I have done many things growing up. I have done things that were done out of anger, so that was also part of it too. 'Cause I couldn't go anywhere uh, most of the time when I was younger. There was a lot of supervision, which was strange because in a way I was being supervised, but at the same time I was alone. So I was basically told not to go anywhere. And I think I'm pretty adventurous. Um, I like to experience things and do things, and um, I guess my form of adventure. There was like a forest next to my neighborhood, and I would just go there. And I remember just walking around and observing the trees and the things that people left, and walking on the logs. I really enjoyed that, and I feel like maybe the Fae were enjoying it too. I would take a lot of walks, and I guess one of my favorite scents when I would go on these walks would be like the scent of laundry detergent. Mhm. I remember one time I was walking back home, and um, it was a little later at during the day, so it was getting dark. I was on my phone. I was doing something, and I had to walk through this school area, and I look up, and there's a bunch of deer around me. And it's not just like two or three deers. This was like a whole pack of deers just, I don't know if they were grazing in the parking lot because there wasn't a lot of grass there. And there was one that was really close next to me. I don't know why I didn't notice it before when I was walking, but um, I kind of quickly scurried along because I didn't want to disturb anything. Uh, but when I was in the rehabilitation center, they would just ask things. And it wasn't that surprising because I was also in therapy. I was already in therapy for the last couple of years. And I just wanted to say before I say this that the man in the closet is a spirit that followed me home on a walk and then started at the bottom of the stairs, then at the top of the stairs, then outside my door, then outside my closet or in my closet. So that's different because one of the questions that I thought was interesting was that um, what was because during this time too, my mom's brother came to live with us, and my father was just not okay with that. And he was constantly um, saying to my mother, like, this is not like what it should be. And I feel that he was worried about if anything would happen because that was also one of the other questions that was brought up during this time of being sent to a rehabilitation center. And I was like, no, nothing. And complete honesty, I'm not gonna send somebody to jail when nothing happened. Sure, honestly, it was fucking annoying having the guest room filled with somebody because, um, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, you do stuff in your own home, and then maybe when a guest is there, you don't do those things. So he would he would just stay in his room, and nothing really was that at all. So I thought it was interesting because the things that I was saying around this time, it just wasn't registering, I guess. And that could also be the lack of expression. I was already a pretty quiet person growing up. And like there was a select few people that I talked to a lot. And those were kind of like the ride and die type of people. So I didn't I honestly didn't get too much out of having that experience, other than I had to stay there. Um, I remember. I'm sorry if I'm like mentioning all these things and it's not really going anywhere, but hopefully, maybe sharing some of my life, it might, I don't know, make people comfortable, I guess. I feel like it's important in some way. Um, I had I had people that I would room with, and there was this one person, and she was there for like 3 months, and she wanted to leave. In this place, you can't go outside. Um, if you did, like, I didn't stay long enough to experience going outside, but she just had it, and I remember she took like a chair, not like a chair, she took a chair and she threw it at the window, and it bounced back because in this environment, that window was made out of, I don't even know what you would call it. It's not a regular window. The bathroom wasn't a regular bathroom because it had um it had like, the mirror wasn't a regular mirror. It was almost metal, and it was mounted to the wall. The sink, it's mounted in general, but like you couldn't take the sink apart. You couldn't take the toilet apart. Like whatever the top of the toilet thing is, I don't know what you call it, but like I guess the lid, you couldn't take the lid off. Stuff was just not able to be moved in that room, I remember. In the common area, it was more free, where there was stuff here and there because they watched you in that area too. Um, I think there was a lot of anger growing up, and I wasn't expressing it in a clear way, I suppose. And me already being quiet, and then I feel like if I don't feel like it's a good space to talk, then I'll be even more quiet. And I know it upsets some people like a lot when I do that sometimes. Like growing up, I would notice that people wouldn't like it because like you thought I was quiet then, like I'll be like even quieter than that. Um, I remember I met like that spirit because I was walking, and I walked. It was like a opening for a creek, but there was like a pathway. And when I was about to pass it, it was like I've never felt that at the time, where the wind just like felt like it was sucked out of me, like something like went through me. And I remember I just looked at the creek, in that, like it was kind of dark, and that was it. Like I just knew that was it. Um, because that's why it was kind of confusing, the health problems and going down the stairs of what really happened. But for sure, I did die. And then I remember waking up and being rushed to the hospital. I look in the mirror and because I have pigmented lips, they were like white. Um, and I remember I saw sparks of light, like when I closed my eyes. So that was a little bit of my life. I don't exactly have a specific reason of why I shared it. Something was just kind of encouraging me to share stuff. And maybe it'll give, I don't know, me a little more peace for things. Because I'm not saying that I didn't do anything wrong growing up. Like, I was fucked up because um, I can tell you something fucked up that I did the other day. Not like the other day. It was like a couple months ago. Because I was on the highway. Well, I was in the airport lane. I'll get started with the reading, so sorry. Um, and then there's like a speed limit. I was already going past the speed limit. It's not like I was going like the bare minimum. And I felt like I was at an appropriate speed level where I wouldn't get pulled over. And that's me knowing that it's an area where you could easily get pulled over if you drive too fast. Um, so there was somebody like trying to tailgate me, and I was already in the right lane. And I was irritated because I'm like, well, I'm not necessarily a slow driver, but I don't want to pay for a ticket either. So I remember like they moved into the other lane and then I went into the other lane. And I just sped up to a point where they felt like, man, she's really like trying to speed up on me. And so they started speeding up and then I slowed down because my GPS told me that there was a cop around the corner, and I was like, oh shit. But I didn't know that at the time. I mean, I knew that there were cops in that area, but um, I just happened to have my GPS on. Sometimes I keep my GPS on to see like the time I would get somewhere. I would take this to my job at the time. Sorry, I keep saying at the time. And then I feel like the other cars were just like, she fucking knew that. I'm like, no, I did, and I'm so sorry. I mean, I was like mad as hell, but I wasn't like trying to do that. I'll get started with the reading. Oh, I did finished my tarot bag. It comes up really bright in the video, but it's actually like a royal blue. Um, I really love it. I'm going to add a button. I made a buttonhole, but I'll wait another day before I keep my deck in here. The non-superwash tends to dry quickly. And I was going to maybe put the deck in to see how it is. And this deck is already like talking, so let me just put these aside. It's the Buckland Rumani. Oh my god. And it fits. I did video log the progress on this deck. Sorry, I keep putting it back because that's more true to color. I just want to make sure that it's dry. I don't know if I should write like the readings half an hour in because I like just talk. And right now it's in this moo bag, but I've been putting the project in here to knit. And I feel like things are okay. If not, they're definitely going to be. With the woman's expression on this card. Because today I saw something, I haven't seen it in a while, but it was a bloody flag. Because it was also the Queen of Cups reversed. But it seemed fine because that feels like worrying energy. The Queen of Cups, like she felt something. Because the expression, it looks like it's being deep in thought and like really thinking. And with that, there's the Ace of Pentacles, the Wheels, and the Star card. So the Judgment and the Star card are here. I feel like that's really telling, and there's water in both pictures too. So that could also be a cleansing energy. And with the clarifying being another major arcana, the High Priestess, it really goes with the Queen of Cups. But it feels like concentrated energy. Because it's almost like protective energy that comes from the High Priestess. And I'm thinking about the High Priestess in like a metaphysical sense too. It feels like the Ace of Pentacles encourages the movement forward. Even though things may be uncertain. And I feel like that's important too, because sometimes I'm like, well, I don't have anything specific I'm talking about for this video, but there's that encouragement, and I feel like the grandfather and the grandmother, they try to lighten the mood and to encourage that. And the child in the High Priestess also reminds me of like the child that was in the dream when Spirit tried giving me the child that she was holding, and really adamant about me holding this child. With the Ten of Swords, it feels like some are out while some are hiding. There's like a hidden away energy that I get from the Hermit card, also a major arcana. The Ten of Swords feels like a coming and going energy. And with that booklet, it kind of feels like there was an offense. Almost reminds me of like, I know this isn't what it is on the card, but there is a type of authority that is on the card, like a shogun or like a Japanese military ruler. I believe that was more prevalent in like imperial times. I'd have to double check on that, but in a military ruler, in this card with the wagons, another card that came out with the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is a it's a beautiful energy to have for this reading. Because it feels like a home, belonging, and sense of community there. But there's the word displaced that comes up too, that was in another video. where I was at my godmother's house. And it's like the area is named after the various Native American nations and really paving the way and giving yourself the chance to give reverence to them too. I feel like that's an important thing because I was talking about imperialism and with the Native Americans to give reverence to your ancestors and to know where you came from. It doesn't necessarily need to be with culture, but I feel like to not let colonialism win in that way, to make sure that you keep your roots and your foundation there, even if sometimes you're on the move, you know what your values are. Um, and this could go into maybe getting to know where you came from. And again, it doesn't need to be specifically culture. Um, I know there's some controversy with like blood quantum and finding out percentages of those types of things. But there's also an emphasis on finding out the actual family tree for the Native American ancestry. And there was this scene, and for Pocahontas too, I'm not going to go into the accuracy, the historical accuracy of that, but it it's not this video. But there is this one part that pops into my head a lot, and I feel like it's one of the archangels mentioning this to me too, and even the Native Americans, because I do feel like there's such a um, guidance with them too over the years. It because it's when Pocahontas chooses to go overseas, then her best friend before she leaves, she's like, "Do not forget this land." So it feels like an important part of it. I feel like this is a card of protest too. There might be some ways that people express their disagreements with things. Maybe that's where the Ten of Swords came up. Why the Ten of Swords came up. And then you have the World. And this feels like a freeing energy too. Now, seeing if there were all the elements represented in this card, and it looks like it is. They are all represented here. And another major arcana. And I was also asking if I should do these readings yesterday. Um, Passion, Archangel, Haniel, trust and follow your renewed passion in your love life and career. And this is gentleness, Archangel Saldaphon. Be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. And I'll get one more. Yeah. The card that fell out is Relationship Harmony, Archangel Raphael. The angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. Sorry, I'm actually looking at the time because I don't have a lot of space on my laptop to do a video that's longer than like maybe an hour and 5 minutes. And it's interesting I pull out the Sunflower Field Tarot. I didn't finish doing the last couple of things for this bag, but it's in here. I thought it was interesting because this is like the night deck, I would say. I get a lot of night energy that comes from this deck. Hey, there's fighting energy here. Um, Feels like energy that was uprooted too. And what stands out to me are the trees here. So the Fool card is in the obstacle position, and here's it being not rooted to anything, and that is the essence of the Fool card. There's also this tree that seems barren. The Ten of Swords comes up twice because it came up in the Slavic Legends Tarot. And this is how to overcome the obstacle of the Fool card. So it seems like putting something to rest. Because it's the Four of Wands with the Five of Wands. See, the Four of Wands would be more ideal, but it seems like needing to move forward into the Five of Wands. Obviously, five comes after four, and that's not something that you can really change. There's an anticipation for this too. There's some anticipating energy, and like with the sunflower, it kind of looks like as if like a sun is actually shining into somebody's eyes, because it kind of feels like that type of realization. Because um, the Ace of Wands comes up, and the Ace of Swords comes up. So the realization comes from the Ace of Swords. And like the mountain goat energy feels like it is in this Ace of Wands. Because it feels like going into unknown territory or doing things that are out of the ordinary for the type of life that maybe you lived before. Four of Wands is a comfortable energy. Five of Wands, in order to get to the end of the cycle, you'll need to go through the different numbers. To get the full experience, normally you would want to go through all the numbers, even though it might be uncomfortable. The Fool comes up twice. It also clarifies the Ten of Wands, so you're being clarified with the Fool card again from the Glory to Ukraine Tarot. Then again, the Fool is also in the obstacle. So it really is a matter of going and actually facing the obstacle this time and not just ignoring it. I feel like that Page of Cups in the present, it feels like being in your own dream world. It's nice to have that, but at some point, life snaps you back. Another card that is an energy for the reading is the Knight of Coins, the Knight of Pentacles. There's a lot of energy that kind of wants to stay put, and I feel like with that Queen of Cups that was in the beginning that was reversed, and then after that was like the Star card with the Ace of Pentacles, it feels like it's an emphasis to like get the ball rolling instead of just doing the things that you know, saying the things that are talking about the things that you know. It's really getting out of that comfort zone. The only card that or ace that didn't pop up is the Ace of Cups. So that could be something that's being strived for. There's a lot of energy of repercussions because of staying in the same place and doing the things that you know already. It's like things haven't progressed as much as it should have. Because there's also the Six of Pentacles here too. And the Six of Pentacles, it feels in a way a continuation of the Five of Pentacles. Because the Five of Pentacles is a lack, a card of lack. And the Six of Pentacles, you get a little bit, but it's just barely enough. And making do with that because of the past, and underneath that is the King of Swords. Which it can be a good thing because it may be like the refusal to have it go any other way aside from where it needs to go. If it's, I feel like it would be more on the positive side because I don't think with the King of Swords, he or she will let that Six of Pentacles define that situation. It's kind of the feeling of making do, but also being efficient about it. The Five of Wands shows up twice here too. There's a lot of repeating energies. And it could be a continuation as well because I started these readings, well, early in the beginning of the year, but I got more messages like towards the end of last year because this card is a card like that's around Christmas time. And with the soldiers there too. Another card that makes it feel like things are moving outside of the norm is the Hanged Man that's here. And that feels like when it was clarified with the Five of Wands, it looks like there was like dealing with those discrepancies. It's kind of a vocal card too, even though it's wands. I mean, you can flip those energies. Some decks, the wands and the swords are kind of changed, or they are changed. Ten of Swords comes up again in the Glory to Ukraine Tarot. And the words that I'm getting is like filling a void. In the future, the words that's coming out is like eliminating problems. With the Seven of Cups, and that's also clarified with the Ace of Swords that I brought up before. So the Seven of Cups, it's kind of like narrowing down the choices at this point. Some choices were already eliminated. So it's kind of like choosing and maybe even making those choices based off of what you're looking for too. Because the Four of Wands does come up. But it also feels like the inspiration behind it. And then it's the Eight of Wands. This feels like rushing in type of energy. This also feels like the traditional interpretation or imagery of the Ace of Wands in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, where there's wands and they're kind of um, all going in what looks like it could be a specific direction. Something in the sky. So I'll do a final card. And it's the Emperor. I think it's a strong card to end on. And it was talking about mountain goats with the Ace of Wands. Because the Emperor is the starting energy with Aries. This is impactful. And I feel like it really brings the inspiration and motivation to the senses for taking the next step. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really had to mention the timelines with this video because I just talked. So I'll see you in another video. Bye.